What do you think I mean when I say that there is a difference between authenticity and hashtag authenticity? Is there a difference? Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Leslie and I am a life coach based here in Brisbane, Australia. Now, 2020 has been a pretty wild year. Some might even say unprecedented. And one thing that this year has forced us to do is re-examine everything. Even things that we wouldn't have expected to have to re-examine. Things like hand washing and hugging. And those are just the little things. We've also had to take a good hard look inwards. We've had to examine what we as individuals really value and what people and places we define as home and family. We've also had to reconsider what we've been investing our time, our emotions, and our finances in. And what has all of this looking inwards and outwards actually revealed? What have we actually learned through all of this? Society has put us in a position where we are expected to always wear a mask, so to speak. We are told that what we show on the outside isn't what matters because you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. But what does that mean when what is actually communicated to us and what we experience is the exact opposite? I've mentioned before that I have a master's degree in applied linguistics, and what that means in this context is that I have a sort of hyper-awareness for language, how people use it to communicate with other people in global and cross-cultural contexts, and also for how verbal and nonverbal communication shapes our perceptions of ourselves and about life. You may be familiar with NLP, and there are similar features between applied linguistics and neurolinguistic programming, but NLP is just a small part of this much broader picture of the power of language, verbal and nonverbal, and how it can impact how we participate in the world around us. And that's what forms the true foundation of my coaching. Understanding our own stories and our goals in the context of global society. Let's focus on verbal communication for a moment. I'm going to ask you a question. If you were to open up Instagram right now and search for the hashtag authenticity, what do you think you would see? Some motivational quotes, some full lotus position, a lot of carefully crafted selfies, a lot of smiling. Things like that. And that's not to say that there's anything wrong with these things, and I post some of this stuff on my Instagram as well. The point I'm trying to illustrate here is that when we search for the hashtag authenticity on social media, what we're seeing very often as a collection is a version of authenticity that has been commodified, especially in the personal development industry. When wellness gurus market themselves as bastions of authenticity who will teach you how to be fearless and step into your power, that whole concept kind of falls apart when what they really end up doing is repackaging this commodified version of authenticity as something to aspire to, rather than being a celebration of what already exists within each of us. So the question I'm really examining here is this. Well, it's kind of the same question, but I'm going to ask it in 3 different ways. The question is, what do you believe that people see when they see you? What values do you embody? And how comfortable are you with the thought of people seeing the real you? Now some nonverbal communication. This one has visual aids. Now it may not be completely clear how these images connect to this topic, so let me explain. These images are not staged. I took these pictures myself, and when I shoot, I use a really long lens. It's a 50-500, so I have to take these shots from really far away. And these images represent what I saw in these people when they weren't prepared to be photographed. Some people I caught by surprise, but some people had no idea I had taken their picture at all until someone tagged them on Facebook. And one way this intersects with my coaching is that, a number of people have since used my images from these events as their profile pictures, which may seem like a silly little detail, but what I love about that is that it tells me that they liked what they saw when I reflected their image back to them in that single unplanned moment. I took these pictures at a few different human rights actions that have taken place here in Brisbane in 2020, mainly the Black Lives Matter protests and the rallies to free the KP120, who are a group of refugees who are being illegally imprisoned at a hotel here in Brisbane. Those are the guys you see in the pictures standing on the balconies. Being a human rights activist makes a person vulnerable to all kinds of judgment, usually from people who see activists as pests, or who would rather complain about protesters than about the human rights abuses they are protesting against. So attending these protests means really putting yourself out there and understanding that there is a risk of a backlash. But we do it anyway, because we're fighting for something we truly believe in. I shoot these photos and I post them publicly because to me it is extra important to be outspoken about what I believe in, for people to see what I value. Human rights, getting political even when it may come off as negative, being grounded in the realities that are impacting the world and the people around us. But I'm a life coach. A lot of people, including people in my industry, think I'm not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to be all positive vibes only. I'm supposed to be all live, laugh, love. I recently posted a video on my channel about the concept of spiritual bypassing. In short, spiritual bypassing is the use of spiritual practices as a way to sidestep the need to face reality and actually work on things that are happening in your life. And it can take a lot of forms. In 2020, it's really taken, publicly taken forms like people talking about being enlightened and therefore choosing not to see evil and disease and racism in the world. No, that's not how anything works. When there are real issues impacting the world, they have an impact on us as individuals. So this commodified version of authenticity is not something that we should all aspire to. What we should aspire to is nurturing the values that exist within us without apology. And when we see something wrong in the world, we cannot enact change by simply being spectators. True authenticity is very important. Embodying your values and considering how your goals and aspirations align with those values and how you show up in the world are a lot more relevant to real life than striving to represent someone else's idea of what authenticity should look like. Getting clear about what you value can be really challenging, and then removing any blocks that are preventing you from embodying those values That's a whole other challenge. So, if you need a hand with that, I'm here. See you next time.
Thank you for watching, and if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and share it with someone else who can benefit from it. Subscribe to my channel and hit the notifications bell so you know exactly when I've uploaded a new video. You can also book a free life coaching session with me through my website, leslievcoaching.com, and we can work together online or right here in my studio. Follow me on my socials to keep up with what I'm doing, and please get in touch with any questions, comments, or video ideas you may have. I'm Leslie V, and I'll see you in the next video.